Guys, The Ballerina is out in theaters as we speak. This is the 5th entry in the John Wick franchise. Now, I'm going to be honest, John Wick is my favorite action franchise. And John Wick Chapter 4 is my favorite action movie of all time. I was very happy to end the John Wick franchise with the 4th movie. They managed to end it on a high note, and I have a massive amount of respect for them to be willing to kill off the character and end his story in the 4th movie, even with a 5th movie being greenlit just for the sake of making the best movie they could. It's a shame that this is being undone, but I digress. The Ballerina felt like a cash grab when it was announced. Then we hear how test screenings for the movie went badly. We heard that the action in the movie was not very good, and they had to bring in the guy from the John Wick movies to save the movie. Then the trailer came out, and the movie advertised that John Wick would be in it. This made it very clear to me that the studio was not very confident in this movie. Needless to say, I was not excited for this movie at all. I wasn't even planning on watching it. But when early reviews came out, I started hearing that the movie was actually pretty decent. So I went to go and watch it a few nights ago, and I was not disappointed. This was indeed a fun movie with great action. This didn't feel like a movie that had extensive reshoots for the most part. The story is fairly straightforward. Eve's a likable protagonist. There's plenty of action from start to finish, and the movie doesn't overstay its welcome. And the action is different from the John Wick movies in a good way. The John Wick movies are mainly gun-fu action movies. They had their fair share of melee, but for the most part, it's guns. This movie has its fair share of gun action, but Eve has to often resort to grabbing other weapons or improvise her own weapons because she gets disarmed quite a bit throughout the movie, and it's a good way of keeping the action fresh. The way Eve fights is a nice contrast from the way John Wick fights. The movie brings up that because she is a smaller female, she is naturally going to be at a disadvantage in almost every single fight that she's going to be in. So she has to adjust to this. She improvises her weapons a lot more in this movie than John does in his. And she also gets tossed around like a rag doll a lot more than John did in his movies. This movie does a fantastic job at making you feel the punch. The way that the camera moves with Eve when she is thrown or hit so hard that she face plants the ground in a second was a very nice touch. I like that she is clearly no match for John Wick. Oftentimes when a movie wants to make their new character seem like a badass, they'll have them win against the previous audience favorite. This, however, never actually works and always feels forced and ends up somehow making the new character less likable. And we do get our fair share of John Wick. There's a nice action bit with a really funny joke about some of the henchmen being scared to enter a room with John Wick right before he runs out and kills them. Now, for the most part, you don't feel the reshoots, but there is one kind of obvious moment. Spoiler alert if you're interested in seeing the movie. It's revealed that one of the main henchmen is Eve's sister. Eve is captured and escapes. Her sister tries to reason with her, and the Chancellor doesn't like this method and decides to just blow up the building. Eve escapes, but her sister dies after they say information we already mostly knew and confirmed other things we had suspicions about. All of this happens in 5 minutes. It feels like Eve having a sister was a bigger deal in the original cut of the film, but when they changed the 3rd act and realized they had nothing for her sister to do, they killed her off as soon as they got the chance. That was my only major issue with the film. I kind of enjoyed the ending. It's kind of similar, but also the opposite of John Wick 2, where, spoiler again, she takes her revenge after being warned that all that will happen is that the rest of the town will come after her. Even with the warning, she executes the Chancellor, and the movie ends with her walking off, seeing a $5 million bounty on her head. I think I can confidently say that after this movie, the John Wick franchise is just as reliable for quality as the Mission Impossible franchise. While I wish they would have ended it at John Wick 4, I am excited for the 5th John Wick movie and the animated prequel on his impossible task. I am also 100% on board for the Kane movie. Seeing how creative they got with this movie, as well as his skill set in Chapter 4, I think that this is the movie I am most excited for. As far as action, this movie gets an 8.5 out of 10. The story is pretty straightforward. It does nothing special, but nothing bad, so it gets a 5 out of 10. The movie is visually pretty good. I didn't really notice any bad green screens. All the effects looked great, and there were a few nice gore shots. I'm giving that a 7.5 out of 10. The characters in the movie were also alright. The villain wasn't great. He was just a guy that exists, and he could have easily been substituted for literally anybody. Eve is a likable protagonist who I wouldn't mind seeing more of, so the characters get a 6 out of 10. And the acting in this movie was also just fine. Ana de Armas is a talented actress. Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, and Lance Reddick, as usual, do amazing jobs. And Gabriel Byrne as our main villain was acceptable. He did alright, I guess. The Ballerina gets an overall 7 out of 10. If you're a fan of action movies, this is absolutely a movie worth seeing in theaters. Or if you just enjoy going to see any fun movie with your friends or family, this isn't a bad pick either. And if you're a fan of the John Wick franchise, this is a must-watch. Guys, just remember, these are only my personal opinions on the movie. Now, even though that does make everything I say 100% true, and if you disagree with anything, you're clinically insane, I'd still love to hear your comments on the movie down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like and subscribe so I can keep making videos for you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and take care.